the mindless use of the F word. We all know that words can hurt and words can heal. Even the tone that we use is very, very important. Certainly in serious matters of life, when it comes to money, especially, contracts, surgery, for example, we need to be really precise in our language. So let's look at the worldwide use of curse words. And if we're honest with ourselves, we've all used these at different times, but let's just take a moment and look at them. All the curse words that we use are really dealing with our anus and our genitals. We could ask ourselves, and maybe another, can't we think a little bit higher? We never put somebody down by focusing on the heart, the air, the lungs, the brain. Of course, kids will often call a genius a brainiac. But all these curse words are dealing, again, with our, what Hindus would call the lower chakras, the first and second chakras. Interestingly, it's often a sign for many people that they've reached some type of level of maturity, if they've used curse words, kind of being hip or being cool. But again, would you use these words when you go for an important job interview? Do you hear these words used when people go to religious services? No, of course not. So let's look especially at the proliferation of the F word. So we've taken something that is supposed to be a loving, intimate, creative, life-giving act and made it nasty or a way to insult somebody. From the macho masculine point of view, for example, isn't this what men are saying that women are basically worth? And oddly, when women use this term, are they accepting this mindset of abuse? When someone says, F you, think about that. If two men say this to each other, isn't that a homosexual reference? Think about when people say F and put a name there, often a political name. How bizarre is that? I've even seen bumper stickers where it will say F and then put the politician's name there, and there's some man driving the truck. So think about the implications of what they're actually saying. Interesting, we can really twist our mind into all kinds of delusions, and we become very bizarre. Look at films today. It's amazing where the ratings have gone. PG-13 movies, even kids are using the F word. What is this setting them up for? So, is the solution then to be mindful? Isn't it interesting to consider that an intimate act between two loving people is something that is quote-unquote for adults only, and yet the vast majority of films have tremendous gore and violence and people blowing each other's brains out. Very graphic. What kind of message are we sending to kids? Is it any wonder that we have the mass shootings that we've had? So even in the sense of now becoming mindful, we truly want to be that. We have today a movement of mindfulness, which in many ways is oblivious to what truly is this mindfulness practice. It comes from the Buddhist tradition, the Buddhist religion, just as real yoga, which is so misrepresented today, actually comes from and is an integral part of the Hindu religion, Hindu Dharma. So being more conscious of the words that we use is something that's intrinsic to the Hindu yoga dharma. For example, Rishi Kalidasa said, Vagarta vihiva samprikta. Words and their meanings are united like a marriage. Of course, in today's divorce culture and where many people take vows and then don't uphold them, this common sense is perhaps thrown out the window. Even in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, he says very precisely, Sabdayananupate vastu sunyo vikalpaha. Delusion, vikalpa, arises anupati when we take word knowledge, sabdayana, devoid of facts, vastu sunyo. And in Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Living, rule number 10, be precise in our speech. So this conscious choice of the F word thrown around can often cause fights, fisticuffs, wherein we start to look like a fool. We can become fake. We flatter, become fictitious. We seek fame, being famous, and of course with the accompanying fees. And this is really cultic tactics. Fame and fortune, and the fee that goes along with that. Interestingly, this is part of today's fallacious yoga. Picture, personality, price tag, fame and fortune, fee. We can be very fickle, which can make us rather freakish, which ultimately ends in a fiasco. And perhaps at the root of all of this is a basic fear, which in religious life can produce the fundamentalist, as opposed to the wise using of fundamentals, where now we use the positive F words and exercise forethought. When we face facts and seek to be fair and faithful, with a good sense of family, when we feel fit rather than throw a fit, when we find our willpower, this is actually the third chakra in the Hindu yoga dharma, and then we may become formidable. Now, to achieve this more positive use of our willpower, going up and in to the heart, in life we need formulas, we need processes, rituals. A basic life formula is to strive to the best of our ability to be ethical, to be fully devoted to ourselves, to our friends, to our family, to our professions, to our religion, for example, and then to be able to deeply concentrate, which is the essential meaning of the word meditate, to concentrate. And then ultimately, perhaps realize that behind this body, mind, emotions, all of these worldly pursuits that we're all going through, is an observer, the soul in English, which is not the body, mind, and emotions, hence incorporeal. Hindus call this soul the Atmana, which is not our mind. It is beyond the body, mind, emotion complex, but radiates out into them. With this formula, now then we become free. And instead of our worst enemy, the mind will now become our best friend with a conscious choice of the words that we use. So let us give ourselves and others the gift of thinking higher. In general, this process of ethics, devotion, meditation to enlightenment, enlight we're meant to be, is the Hindu yoga, religious, spiritual, scientific lifestyle, specifically of karma yoga and bhakti yoga, raja yoga, and jnana yoga. So no matter what we follow in life, give ourselves and others this gift of true freedom, where we now exercise forethought and seek to be fair and faithful, finding true freedom. A freedom to face our fears and what is fake, rather than the self-made prison of a fool.